So as it turns out, I actually very nearly made it to the end of the game last time. The graveyard is actually the final area. Alas, I choked at the finish line. I did pretty well though, considering the fact that that was my first time going through that area. Assuming I can make it this time, hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit better. Really, more than anything, it depends on what my gear setup ends up being. As much as I wish it wasn't, I do feel confident in saying that, as of the current patch, the game is more stat-based than anything. Enemies just scale up to such a ridiculous degree that you need really powerful shit if you hope to stand a chance. And honestly, for the most part, most of that powerful shit seems to be skills. Maybe you just need to focus more levels on strength or use like a specific weapon, but as far as I can tell, your primary weapons at that point aren't very good. Like, look at this Assassin's Dagger. Even without the bonus, I can kill a basic enemy in like 5 hits. Less if I actually use that bonus. But in the final stage, even with a good weapon, a very powerful one like the Rapier, it takes a ton of hits even with the boosted crits to actually take the enemies down. The stats just scale up to the point that, really, primary weapons are no longer a viable means of primary offense. You basically have to rely on the skills, and that's a little bit disappointing, but that's okay, because this is an early access game after all. It's balance issues like those that this is being released so early, or at least that's part of the reason. Ooh, bleeding now inflicts poison damage too. That might be worth picking up. Although I've never seen this one before. If I don't attack for 5 seconds, I become invisible. I'm assuming that means enemies will be unable to perceive me and thus unable to attack me. That could be useful. I know, however, that the Knife Storm is good, so I'll just go with that. I'm not gonna trust an unknown quantity at this stage of the game. Because I do hope to make it to the end again, and this time conquer the graveyard. We'll see how well that actually goes. You know what? I'm early on. I'm willing to risk it. A little bit of extra early gold and maybe something good. Let's see, Heavy Crossbow 2, ooh, that's a good random bonus. Yeah, why not? I think the throwing knives are actually better, but I love this medieval shotgun here, so let's see how it works. Probably should have boosted my primary strength since my skills aren't exactly amazing at the moment. Eh, it is what it is. Ooh, Shieldman. I'm afraid of these dudes. And the Heavy Crossbow is just slow enough that I wasn't able to back snipe him. That's fine. Still upset that I can't actually attack through these gaps. I can understand why from a gameplay design standpoint, they're forcing you to roll through to deal with the encounter on the other side in close combat, but it's just a little bit frustrating. Oop, that was close. I'm not entirely sure what path I'm going to take. I think I might take the sewers simply because it's been a while since I've been through those. And they're an area that I'm fairly comfortable going through as opposed to the ossuary, which, even though I have conquered it by now, I'm by no means an expert at it. I can't recall if I've actually shown off Lightning Bolt on camera. I don't think I have, so let's go with it even though I'm not a huge fan. It's honestly kind of better than the Assassin's Dagger anyway. So basically, it sends out a stream of lightning in front of you for quite a ways actually. It has very good range. Up there with the electrical whip, I believe. And the longer you cast it, the more damage it does. However, if you cast it for too long, you will start to take damage, and I'm just going to assume that that self-damage will also proc the insta-death thing of the curse. Not that I have to worry about that anymore. So I was being a little bit cautious there, just to be safe. But yeah, while its range is great, the damage just really isn't there. And a bigger issue with it is that unless it has the ability to pierce crowds, the randomly generated one, it can't pierce crowds. It'll only strike whatever enemy is in front, so it doesn't really have the ability to act as crowd control by default. If it did, it would be a lot better, but as it is, I think I'm going to give it up for this rapier. Even if it does have the 2 times damage received bonus, which later on is pretty much going to be a death sentence. I'll probably have swapped it out for something better by then though. And earlier on, it should allow me to clear through the enemy crowds that much more quickly. We'll see how it goes, as usual. I did actually do a few runs in between the last one and this one. And I actually picked up 2 new blueprints, one for the Burning Mace and one for the Flamethrower turret. I'm interested in trying these out actually. I think I'll save the Burning Mace until later. If I haven't received a weapon upgrade, I'll unlock it then so I can take it immediately. But let's see what the Flamethrower turret is like. I am intrigued. And might as well funnel the rest into more healing flask charges. If I had had one more, I might not have died last time. Alright, tier 3, that's pretty good. I'm kind of worried that it says it burns nearby enemies for 2 damage for 0 damage a second. I'm hoping that's purely a glitch with the description and not the active item. Let's get rid of the flashbang since it's tier 0. Not exactly gonna be of much use when it's that weak. Alright, I think I'll try out this Flamethrower turret on the first thing I come across and see how it goes. Hopefully it does damage. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, it says it does 0 damage because it's purely for proccing the burning status effect. Honestly, it doesn't seem that great, and I'm probably gonna trade it up for a better skill as soon as I get one. Now, if it caused damage in addition to the burning status effect, it might be good. But at the moment, I'm not really a fan. Ooh, heavy crossbow upgrade, indeed. Plus damage on a burning target. Ooh, that actually synergizes pretty well with the Flamethrower turret. Horizontal turret, that too is quite good. Might be worth replacing the Knife Storm. Knife Storm is good for hitting a whole bunch of shit I found, but it's not exactly good for dealing a lot of damage to 1 or 2 enemies, which is what you're going to be dealing with mostly, honestly. Alright, let's try burning these chodes and then going for the crossbow. Okay, that was a mistake. I'm gonna try and rally a little bit of my HP. See, that's what I meant when I said the 2 times damage received bonus would be more likely a liability than an asset. Especially later on when making a mistake like that would just result in me dying, as opposed to hanging on by a thread. Yeah, my current gear setup is actually pretty trash, so hopefully I find some better stuff soon. Wait, how the hell do I continue here? Oh right, I can climb up these. I had temporarily forgotten that. One-shotting enemies with the rolling attack though is certainly nice. If I had to have one weapon with the 2 times damage bonus, it would be the rapier. And I think I'm gonna say bye to my friend the rapier. Twin daggers without that is just going to be a lot safer. And it has pretty good damage and pretty good rally as well, thanks to that 3rd hit of the combo being a guaranteed crit. Yeah, if I can fire this thing at point blank range, it's really good. But at a distance, the heavy crossbow is kind of trash, which is a shame since, you know, it is technically a ranged weapon. That's kind of the niche you want it to cover, but it just can't. So I'll probably pass that up for a bow at some point. I should, well, I was gonna say try and get, but it's purely up to the RNG. But if I come across a sufficiently powerful infinite ammo bow, I might go with that. I imagine that would be one of the most useful primary weapons that uses ammunition technically that you could have against the bosses, since you can't actually recover your ammunition from them since that only occurs on death. I feel like they really need to patch that because as of the current patch, the ranged weapons are kind of hamstrung against the bosses. Or at least against the first one. Maybe the second one is designed such that that's not an issue, but it is an issue with the first. I haven't been getting too many level ups so far, it's a bit of a worry. As I said earlier, I kind of need stats later on if I hope to survive. Hopefully the game starts to accommodate me in that fashion. As it is for now, I'm doing just fine. Let's see what's in the box. Of course it's a useless ass shield. Those things are just such hot garbage. They, more than anything else, need a huge buff as a weapon class. One way I could see them being buffed is, well, now that I think about it, for more than an instant, this actually wouldn't work out. Because of the fact that everything you use only has a single button assigned to it, means you can't really give the shield multiple moves, a block, and a proper attack. I was gonna say that would be a way of making it better, giving it both of those. But with the current button setup, that's kind of an impossibility. Still though, there has to be some way of buffing the shields in general and just making them better. Because at the moment, they're just such hot trash that despite the fact that there's a pretty good variety of them, there's not a single one that's actually worth using. Oh hey, speaking of level ups, I'll take that. Let's see. If I get good skills, I can rely on those to carry me through the latest stages. Do I risk going with that? It's a risk because I might not actually get good skills. Fuck it. Let's roll them bones. Maybe pick up a fire grenade. That's a better way of causing burning than the flamethrower turret, that's for damn sure. Oh yeah, that's pretty good damage. I'll take it. Yeah, I eviscerate enemies pretty quickly by throwing a fire nade and then using the horizontal turret. So I should be set for a fair bit. More lightning. Ooh. I'm tempted by the +1 to health. That could definitely come in handy. And it actually has more range than the ranged weapons, so yeah. Let's go with Lightning Bolt for a little bit more. I didn't exactly get too much of a chance to show it off. As you can see, the longer you use it, the more damage it does. I think it starts getting like automatic crits is how that works out mechanically. But carry on for too long and you'll start taking damage yourself. Alright, I could head on towards the ramparts, but I want to continue on with the sewer path. That's just what I'm feeling like. Ooh, and another scroll. This one for strength. Good. I'm a fairly well-rounded build at this point. Ah, this should be the other exit, I think. I have never been so wrong in my life. Wait, no, that's not true. I've been wrong plenty of times before. Ooh, I'm tempted by the meat grinder. It's a pretty good item for any large enemy, or really anything that you can get to stay in one spot for a fair while. If I manage to accrue another 2k gold before I beat the stage, which is unlikely but not impossible, I'll consider picking that up. Although it might be better to stock up gold for later on. Okay, there's the old sewer exit. I still have a bit more to explore down here though. It's interesting, they have a whole thing set up where you can choose to go through the stages more quickly, and thus gain access to what lies beyond the hourglass doors, but as far as I can tell, it's never actually worth it because what you get in there is just a little bit of gold and maybe, not even guaranteed, a blueprint, and that's it. And in return, because you're rushing through the stage to get there before the door seals itself, you end up having a way weaker character because you picked up less gear, and more importantly, less level ups. And with how important those level ups are to your survivability later on, that's kind of crippling, and makes rushing through the stages basically just a straight up bad choice. But again, that's kind of just a balance thing that I'm sure they'll fix in time. I've seen other people making that sort of complaint, so I'm sure the developers are aware of it. And I think that's everything, yep. Okay, so much for the meat grinder. This day I shall not be a butcher. Maybe now would be a good time to pick up the burning mace. No idea if it's good or not, although it seems like it could be cool. It is a reliable source of inflicting burning, which would be nice. I'm actually pretty close to unlocking the next healing flask charge, so I think I'll continue to invest in that. I might be able to do that before this run is over and actually benefit from it. Alright, on to Sewers 2, Toxic Boogaloo. It's kind of weird that 2 of the 9 stages that currently exist are sewer levels, despite the fact that that is a much reviled video game level type. I wonder what made them choose that, as opposed to really anything else. Maybe they just felt comfortable designing sewers. After all, a lot of the other levels do have the sort of level design of, constrained rooms, and sewers kind of go along with that theming just naturally. So level up over here, booyah, more health. So that way when I inevitably leap down into a pit of spikes, I might be able to actually survive. Nope. Sorry about that rude entrance, my merchant friend. Ah, bow and infinite arrows. Shots pierce the first target and boosted damage on a burning target. I'm aiming for that. Although the amulet is quite good as well. This is the trouble of starting a run fresh over without a bunch of gold from the previous run. You end up being able to make far fewer purchases. I should be able to pick up at least one item, and it's probably going to be the first thing I said. I've already forgotten what item it is specifically. Now that is something I want. I don't think I've shown it off before, but that is the cluster bomb. That is a fantastic skill. Hopefully I'm not locked off from it. Oh, there's a merchant I gotta deal with. Sorry, a fungus I gotta deal with. There is also a merchant down there. 2 of them, and in such close proximity, doesn't that hurt their business? Maybe they're in collusion. I don't want to get rid of my only source of causing fire. So I think I'll get rid of the horizontal turret, it's worth it. The cluster bomb is fantastic, especially if you happen to combine it with the magnetic grenade, because then you can lob the magnetic grenade to group together a whole bunch of enemies, and then just cluster bomb them once, and they will just kind of all explode. And it is a wonderful sight. But even by itself, it's pretty good. One of the more damaging grenades. Oh dear, that's a lot of shit I don't want to deal with, so go, my cluster bombs. Ah, the ghost of the horizontal turret haunting me even to this day. Fie on thee, though. I believe not in the supernatural. Okay, maybe the merchant isn't as close as I thought. It is in pure proximity, but the actual path leading to him is quite longer than I thought. Yep. Hey there, buddy. I was gonna say I'm tempted by the blood sword, but now that I see what randomly generated ability it has, I'm not. Restoring 1% of my life with each hit is not a worthy trade-off for taking 50% more damage. Not with the crazy amounts of damage enemies in later stages do. It's not a good trade-off. Hell, even now it's a pretty poor trade. Just gonna top off, but I think I can handle this. Okay, that's half its HP gone. And most of its remaining HP gone. I think I'm just gonna faff about until my skills cool down, and there we go. Worked out. What is my prize? 10% damage reduction and 3 jumps in the air. That's not bad. Oh, just a free carrot sitting about. Not even safely secluded in a wall. Oh, those bats continue to frighten me to an inordinate degree. And I think that's part of the reason why I have trouble with them. As soon as I see even a sight of them, I immediately start panicking, which prevents me from reacting to them appropriately. Because they only take a single hit to kill, and it's not too difficult to hit them, especially compared to other flyers. But still, because of that panic, I end up having a bit of extra trouble. Gotta work on that. Alright, now let me work on you fungal assholes. I hate just how far away they aggro. Makes them such a pain to deal with. Ooh. Now this looks fancy. Spiteful sword. I have another weapon to consider to unlock on this run. Oh, they don't aggro if you're above them. Interesting. They will, however, if you come even vaguely within their proximity from any other direction, as I am very well aware. Just gonna let you explode on your enemy friend. You don't actually do damage to them, unfortunately. It would be nice if friendly fire was a thing. I'm not saying universally or as a default option, but as something that you could somehow cause, either with an item, like say maybe a skill, confusion grenade, or like a special bonus on any item, something like that. It would definitely help in the later stages and give you an interesting and presumably effective method of crowd control. I could see it as being a little bit overpowered, which is maybe why they haven't decided to include anything like that just yet. They're waiting to iron out the balance as is before they tackle adding new stuff. Alright, Biter Swarm, do I go with you, my long-standing friends? Enemies explode on death, not bad, and I know Biter Swarms are pretty reliable anyway. Honestly, I don't have much stuff that benefits from burning at the moment, so I think Biter Swarm is better. I don't have to worry about replacing it either. I should try and use lightning more. It seems that that is the item I have happened to have forgotten to use on this run at all. I'm sure you've noticed that by now, but there's always one thing in my loadout that I just kind of completely fail to use. At least in this case, it is the far and away least useful thing I have. It has range, and that's about it. And honestly, because of the risk of self-harm, the electrical whip is pretty much that, but better. And it's something you actually have unlocked from the start. And that's not even taking into consideration the homing ability of the electrical whip. Could have handled that better. I was panicking a little bit because of that bat down there. Why haven't I been using my little friends? That would definitely help with my panic. Case in point. Alright, I'm starting to take a little bit more damage, but considering how much of the stage I've explored, I should be nearly finished. So it's not that huge of a deal. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not in one of the latest stages where that probably would have one-shot me. That's a good example of what I mean about enemy stats just climbing to a ridiculous degree. Just like in the next stage even, the Fog Fjord, that probably would have been enough to one-shot me. I've seen as such happening in the past. Thankfully, the enemies currently are weak enough— gold shield. Still that didn't. If this had been the end of this run, I would have been quite upset indeed. Okay, I seem to have found the exit. I still have plenty more of the stage to explore though, plenty of pathways I elected not to check down. So let's go do that, and use my last healing charge, why not? In case I make another really dumb mistake, that way I can hopefully survive it. Let's see, where can I go to? I didn't fully explore that lower path, and there could be a level up down there. You never know. No such luck as it turns out. I do like though that they greatly incentivize eradicating every enemy you come across. In some roguelites, it ends up being better to avoid some enemies entirely just because there's nothing you gain from killing them, but here, you always get gold and cells, so you always have a reason to kill them. But even so, with the way they're designed and how dangerous some of them get in the later stages, it can still be worth opting out of fighting them. Ooh, this is a fantastic ice bow. Spending gold on that door also just reminded me, oh yeah, I want to make a stop at the merchant, whoops. I should still have gold to buy whatever it is I wanted to pick up. I love this climbing animation, it's just so jaunty. Rarely do you see a video game character climb with this much enthusiasm. Ah, that's right. I was considering the bow and infinite arrows. I would have to get rid of my newly acquired ice bow, but against the boss which I'm about to fight, it's definitely a better choice. So basically, I just wasted gold by opening that door. Oh well. You live and you learn. Let's see, pathway over here. Okay, a lot of stuff to deal with here. Let me just focus. Okay, that was close. Actually, not really. I don't think I was in any danger of dying, but it felt like I was close. And that's what matters, you know? Feelings, not facts. Yeah, not a huge fan of the phaser. Alright, I have to deal with that fungus jerk first. Easy enough. Alright, so far nothing of especially high worth down here. I haven't finished exploring it though, and now I have. Now, if I had acquired a blueprint in that wall, that definitely would have been worth the detour. As it is, just kind of a waste of time. Oh well, I have more cells and gold, so it wasn't a complete waste, just a relative one. Alright, what did this merchant have? Did you have anything good? I don't think you did. Right, the blood sword would absolutely be worth taking if not for that bonus effect. Already gone over that. Okay, that seems to be everything then. Let's see about taking on the boss then. I don't have an amazing setup for it, but I do have a pretty good one. I can cause a fair amount of damage from a safe distance thanks to my Biter Swarm and the grenades, and the infinite ammo bow. And if I get close, I can also do a fair bit of damage and rally with the assassin's daggers. So I feel pretty confident. If I die, it's not going to be due to a statistical disadvantage, if nothing else. So, Spiteful Sword inflicts a critical blow if you have been hurt recently. Considering how often I get hit, that might actually be worthwhile for me. Especially since, how strong is that critical blow? If it's a significant boost in damage, basically you could take damage purposefully and then rally most of that back, if not all, thanks to getting that critical blow while dealing more damage. A risky strategy, sure, but it could work out. Well, that'll be something I ponder later. First thing I want to do, get Healing Potion 4. That should give me a lot more survivability on this run. And, I'll hold off on unlocking this for now. I think I might save it until I'm near the very end if I really need a weapon upgrade at that point. Let's see. I've already upgraded the cluster bombs once. I could start investing in the second upgrade. Let's make it so that I barely lose any gold when I die. Alright, boss time. Okay, Cluster Bomb is very good against the first boss. I didn't know how good it would be because I've never tried it before, but look at his health disappear. Yes, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. I just gotta stay at a distance, maybe rally some HP with my bow when necessary. And yeah, it's pretty much a guaranteed victory. That said, I'm not calling the boss a chump. I am showing him the proper respect. I know what happens if I fail to do that. Here I am continuing to show him respect by actually healing, rather than relying purely on rally. Yeah, Cluster Bomb is insanely good, damn. Don't worry, Mr. Boss, I'm still respecting you. Come on. Okay, thank you, Biter Swarms, for picking up my slack, jeez. It's always during the last part of the fight when he just becomes a lot more aggressive that I start making a whole bunch of dumb mistakes. Just one that leads into another, that leads into another. For some reason I kept trying to roll and iframe through that ground wave attack, and that just, it doesn't work. You have to jump over that. I should try and go for that door at some point, just to see if there's anything interesting beyond it. Probably just treasure like the regular ones though.